Hi everyone in English 1301, it's Dr. E and I'm here with your week 9 instructional video. As you can see, taking advantage of the season. Thought for the first time ever, why not dress up? I think we can all use just a little bit of fun. And so to add to that, there is a discussion board for Halloween and the fall season if you want to share any of your costumes from the past or present, or your kids, or pictures of fall and the fall season, or anything pumpkin spice related, because it's everywhere. So just a little bit of fun. So I'm Rosie the Riveter, and so you'll see that there's Leslie Note from Parks and Recreation as Rosie the Riveter, and then a bobblehead of Rosie right there. So we can do it. That's the motto of Rosie from the World War II era. All right, let me get into where to go and what to do. I do want to just a quick reminder to make sure that you're keeping an eye on the announcements. I did post a video that kind of walked through some of those questions about the coalition post from the past week, because there was confusion, understandably. So I tried to go in and answer some of those questions and concerns, just to kind of hopefully put you on the right path and avoid some of that confusion that was going on. All right, so if we go to our content area and go to week 9, you can clearly I'm really getting into this. So we have the Queen right here, Beyonce dressed as Rosie the Riveter, and then Leslie Knope here. Anyhow, so this week we are going to read an article by Stedman entitled Annoying Ways People Use Sources. I cannot stress how useful this article is, not only for me as a professor of composition, but I hope for you, because there can be a lot of confusion around MLA, particularly how we use in-text citations or quotes, which is a big part of academic writing. So I hope that the video that you watched last week was somewhat helpful, kind of giving you examples, giving you a visual on the process of quoting, all the things that you need to include, all of that good stuff. Stedman's article identifies some of the pitfalls, right? So I may have noted in your written response feedback about, explain the quote, introduce the quote, those kinds of things. So Stedman mentions some of those ideas and others. So take some time. It's really worth the effort to go through and read and understand those things that Stedman points out, because we all do these things in our writing. I mean, I do it. I've been doing this a long time. But Stedman reminds us to keep an eye out for those things in our revision process. You're also going to watch a TED Talk by Sam Cass, and it's entitled Want Kids to Learn, Feed Them Well. So this is digging into our overall topic of food. Cass is a really interesting individual, identifying the importance of food, right? So we want to keep those things in mind, because we've read Amy Choi's article, we have thought about Ron Finley's TED Talk, all of these other, ideas related to food, and this is just adding another layer to that. All right, so you are watching that instructional video. There is a prompt posted, because now that we've gone through and had our first experience with the written response, we did our reflection on that first written response and submitted that last week. You kind of get more of a sense of, okay, these are the expectations for the written response assignment. Dr. E noted that maybe I have a habit of doing this, that, or the other, so you can keep those things in mind and address those in this week's written response. Eventually, we're going to take these written responses and revise, edit them, and put them together, but we're not there yet. We're just getting the original work done. So we're putting the time and effort into that, okay? All right, so you have that written response assignment that's due on Thursday. On Sunday, you have the participation quiz, and then it is the last chance for that bonus credit assignment. So if you go to the assignment area, by clicking here, that bonus assignment is available for you. All right, if we scroll down, you're watching what will appear here. A few things to review. We do have the written response template and the guidelines. Can't stress enough, folks, use the template. You need to make sure that you're downloading the full copy. If you have the full version of Word, you have a free version. You can download a free copy of Microsoft Word, which will make sure that the formatting is all taken care of. But the template is already set up according to MLA guidelines. So it is double-spaced, Times New Roman, 12-point font. There's a heading, there's a header, Eventually it will pull up. Let me pause. All right, it was taking forever, so instead I just went to the arrow here and selected download, which you can do as well, or you can click download right here, and then it will open this for you. And again, you just put all of your information in here. You make sure to double click up here. And once you double click, it will allow you to then change your last name. So you put your last name in here. And then Microsoft Word will take care of that on every page. To get out of there, you just double click. Okay, and just make sure that you are using the title most of the time in quotation marks. If we're doing a video title, a chapter title, an article, that's all in quotation marks. Okay, so just keep in mind and include the author's full name. Okay, begin your response after hitting the return key once. Place a chosen quote here. Okay, usually you need quotes within those paragraphs that are introduced and explained, but then afterwards you need to choose one particular quote from that reading, that video, whatever it is assigned that week. So you don't have to go outside and find outside quotes. That's specifically just finding another important or useful quote from the text that we're addressing in that particular week. All right, let's go back to D2L. I'm going to pause 1 second. All right, back to the module. If we scroll down, we have, again, the response guidelines, the template, and that's also available if you go up here to syllabus, schedule, rubrics. It also has the assignment video if you just want a quick refresh where I walk you through those instructions for the assignment. Just something to consider. Make sure you get the best possible grade. All right, so for this week's written response, what I want you to do is focus on Cass's TED Talk. So I put, we've had good experience with the written response assignment after submitting that. So I want you to take some of the ideas and some of the experience you learned, or the experiences you gained from the past written response, apply them now, try to get that best possible grade. I put for academic writing, we're usually tasked with including research. That's just kind of the nature of the game. It not only serves to support our own ideas, but it also lets your audience know that you have knowledge about the topic, right? So Stedman, in the article that you have to read this week, identifies a handful of annoyances when it comes to how sometimes people utilize sources in academic writing. So keep those in mind. It's a very good guide that Stedman offers. So think about those things as you're moving through and creating your response. All right, so what I want you to do is consider Cass's TED Talk. Write 3 paragraphs, 4 at the most. Our ultimate goal will be to focus on the 3 kind of steps, and we've been practicing some of this before. So the first step is to summarize, the second step is to analyze, and the final step is going to be to connect, right? So we can make an acronym, SAC, right? Summarize, analyze, connect. A summary is something that's really straightforward. It's really just focusing on the author, or in this case, the speaker's ideas, the title, the main idea, all of that. An analysis is going beyond that, right? So I want you to think about a summary as just those main ideas. If somebody asks you to summarize what happened on the most recent episode of whatever, you will just get those main ideas. You're not going to go into word for word. You're not going to go into extreme detail because that's not what the person wants, right? The summary is just the main ideas. It requires that you make some decisions, right? So if you start a list of the main ideas, you may have to go through in order to create a single paragraph, really hone in on, okay, this is a really important idea, but maybe it's not a main idea. You have to pick and choose, right? And show what you know. All right, so that's for a summary, but the analysis is going beyond that. So you're providing your audience with more context, right? You're focusing on the construction of the text, how the person has organized their ideas, how those ideas are relevant overall, the choices that are made. And then connections, that's for you. That's a space where you can connect as a student scholar, which we all are in some way. You're thinking critically about the broader implications of the ideas. How do they relate to you, or how do they relate to another topic that may be interesting, important, etc. Okay, so just go through, take some time to read through this, and I have some links here that can also help further the explanation of these different methods, right? So in that first paragraph of 6 to 7 sentences, including quotes, summarize Cass's talk. This is you focusing on what he shares without including your value judgments or assertions. And you can look at the qualities of a summary by clicking the link here. And what I mean is that a lot of times it's in our nature or it's our habit to, when we're summarizing something, kind of insert like, this is a really good idea, or this is a really important idea, or, you know, Cass could have included more. A summary is just the ideas, right? Straightforward, to the point ideas. There's nothing of us in that paragraph, that conversation. The only thing that's kind of hinting at the fact that we're the ones writing it is a bit of our voice, which comes through in our writing, but nothing about us. All right, in a second paragraph of 6 to 7 sentences, you're going to analyze Cass's ideas, and you're going to include quotes to support your ideas. I'll make sure that I mark that, I update that so that it's very clear. According to the editors of our text, analysis, and there's a link here, is defined as a detailed breakdown or other explanation of some aspect or aspects of a text. Analysis helps readers understand the meaning of a text. So your goal is really to help your audience understand Cass's ideas, right? So that summary is just the main ideas, but then how do you help your audience understand what are the ideas that Cass shares, what are the kind of rhetorical choices that Cass makes. So it's helpful to connect to the idea of rhetorical reading or viewing in our case. So these links will give you a little bit more information just because I may not be explaining it in a way that's super useful to you. So you can go and utilize some of these sources to just kind of further your understanding. Okay. Finally, you're going to make your own connection with Cass's ideas, or consider a food-related issue that you feel is worthy of attention, but always bring it back to Cass's ideas. So I don't want you to feel like you have to overshare or share something that you're not comfortable with when it comes to this topic of food or food insecurity. You can always relate it to, like, Cass is identifying this issue and offering some sort of strategy or some sort of way to address that issue. What's something that you think is important to consider when it comes to food or food access, or, you know, anything, right? So you can kind of push Cass's ideas into something new or relate to your own experiences. That's your choice. The template is here, please use it, and the guidelines. All right, so if we go back to week 9, that's essentially what we have, right? We have the participation quiz that's also due based on all the reading on the video, etc. But then you also have that bonus credit assignment, so make sure that you're taking some time to complete that if you'd like to earn back some points that you may have lost if you missed an assignment or maybe didn't get the grade that you were hoping for on something, that kind of thing. I did make some notes I want to make sure that I address with you. So the first is that I've gotten some emails about participation boss. Does the participation boss have to complete? We're moving away from the more formalized kind of coalition work. We're focusing kind of on the discussions and being involved and engaging with one another's ideas in that way versus the more formal ideas. From that survey I received from most of you, the feedback has led me to that. I'm just kind of simplifying. So unless you see specifically that there is a place to upload the participation boss document, or if I mention it in the weekly video, that's not something you need to worry about. I do want to also note that it may be helpful to understand how I go into a document and look at it. So when you're thinking about your written response for this week, you know, when I open a document and it's on my screen, all I see at first is formatting. All I see, because it's just words on a page until I start reading. You're giving off a certain impression by making sure that everything is formatted correctly by using the template, making sure that everything is there. I will scroll through and see if there are quotes. So it's just kind of the surface level stuff that I notice first, and then I go into providing you and providing you with feedback on your ideas and your writing. Okay, so remember that for the written response, you do need a quote, but it only needs to come from that assigned reading or video or anything for that week. And also, Some of you have emailed before, or perhaps will be worried in the future about uploading an assignment late. I'm using air quotes because remember there is a 48-hour grace period to submit those uploaded assignments, like the written response. That grace period just isn't there for discussion posts because, again, part of that is us engaging with one another, which means we have to submit at the right time. All right, y'all, good luck this week. You can do it. We can do it. That's the motto.